YouTube, new family. What's going on? Daniel here for another video. Want to share this one. It's mostly video journal of my own growth. Crazy in power. The last day or so, and this is something that happened 2 days ago. And my conscious just told me today I have to share it. I shared my story the past 2 days. You guys can see it on my Instagram. But essentially, it's it's personal growth that for me has changed my perspective like crazy. Before, as I talk about on the channel, I used to be someone that was very lost in lust. Especially the last, I would say, 2 3 years of my journey with women. And it lasted about half a decade, 5 years. I started when I was like 21 and went to about like 26, and then I settled down, you could say, and had all my experiences. But you know, in the beginning, especially more so towards the end, I had this tremendous lack and void I was trying to fill. And I told myself, I kept telling myself, the more I got externally, the better I was getting, or, the better I'd feel. And this is the biggest lie that I've seen, especially yesterday. And, how I've been able to change the way I operate, since working with my spiritual brother, Mike. I always shout him out because, the work I've done and the way I've grown has all been, working with him. I started with Yados as well, and he gave me the habits, but really like the spiritual journey and getting to the level I'm at now, where I'm able to just uncover more ways that I was operating that are simply false and illusions, and what the devil convinces you to do to keep you low frequency and not attracting what is actually meant for you. So when I make this video, like I said, it's for me because I want to have it here, but also I know those watching are going to get something from it, because you're going to see my energy and how I feel and how I've grown, and you will be able to see each video that comes out, the more I grow, because it's it's really just getting in power again. When I was in this journey, I told myself I was in power. My ego told me I was in power, but my ego was in pride. It wasn't power. I was always operating in lack. And when you're in lust, you think that the tension of a woman, or sex from a woman, or having them around, or whatever it is, anything around women, you feel is what you need in that moment. So that's why you're constantly messaging women, constantly chasing women, approaching women, liking their pictures, women you don't know. Maybe you follow women on social media, models, these celebrities. This is all you training yourself that you lack something, so you give the power to something external. So that's why you're like entertaining all these things that don't matter and are actually reinforcing the lack you have within you. So that was something I struggled with. Like I said, I was getting all the experiences externally, the multiple women a day, threesomes, foursomes, going to sex club and getting all this validation. But actually what I was training was to be more in lack, and every time I got something new, I needed the next thing and the next thing. And I was never actually able to go into a venue. When I started, I was always going to clubs, or day parties, day events. I was never actually able to be in my own presence, basically in my own power. So I would go. I remember one time, even with family. So I went for like a cousin's birthday, and my sister was there, and even she knew I was just very always in lack and needing something. So I would go to family events, and instead of spending time with family, I would be there, you know, looking for, scanning the environment, like walking in and not even saying hi to anybody. Like a family thing, like you go and say hi to the people you're with. Not even that, just instantly, as soon as I pay the admission, go in, I'm like looking around. I'm like talk to this one, and like I'm like scanning and looking for the girls, and like how am I going to talk to this one? And, like you're instantly in lack. You're instantly scanning the environment and telling yourself and letting the devil, which is creates these stories. So you allow yourself to think, which creates stories, which creates feelings, that whatever you get externally in this environment, a girl, meeting her, getting her number, sleeping with her after, whatever it is, making out with her in the club if you want, and that's going to give you a feeling that you create in your head. It's fake. That feeling is fake. Everything is neutral, but essentially you're allowing the devil to come into your mind, because the devil is not external. It's not this person with horns, this red thing you see in movies. The devil lives in your mind. The devil is what causes you to think and get in doubt, get in fear, get in lack, get in worry, and compare and compete, And it's what actually gets you to, create these stories of why you need something external, and then it creates a feeling as to what's going to happen when you get that. So for me, it was women for the longest time. Like I said, I would go into a venue and, instantly, before even saying hi to people that I was with, just go start scanning the room. And like I was, I'm a tall guy, 6'5", so I'm able to see above, so I can just start scanning and, seeing like, oh, it's these people, and like I'm gonna talk to these ones before even able to see where you're at, where your energy is at. And when you're in that place, energy is, you don't have energy, like you can't attract. That's the thing that, I want to share. And I've been able to see, especially 2 days ago, where this happened, where I went to a salsa social. I've been doing salsa for the past like five weeks now. I started in the beginning of the year for my mom to surprise her for her birthday. So I did it for 2 months. It was like a New Year's special. Me and my sister did it, and I actually enjoyed it. I always saw it in like family events, people dancing. And when you're dancing, you're in spirit. You don't think when you're dancing, you're not like taking a step and like, oh, is it this one, and like, oh, do I spin now? You're just, your spirit is what's leading you. And when I was doing that, I realized that I was not thinking. I was simply in spirit. I was enjoying. I was meeting people. I was flowing. And that's what I teach with this lifestyle, is being in spirit. And that's actually what's going to remove the lust for you. But to the point, essentially, I was you know um, doing the lessons, the salsa lessons. And I went to socials and I got very in my head. But 2 days ago, I'm filming this on a Tuesday, it was a Sunday where I went Sunday night for the first time. Thanks to my coach once again, I was able to go to a venue, and instead of looking around, be in power. Instead of being, in my head, be in spirit. And this caused me to have one of the best nights in terms of the people I met, the lack of, dependence, or not needing an outcome, or, not going to like meet a girl and like, oh, I'm here to dance salsa, but I'm actually here to like try and fuck girls. It was, I'm in my own energy. I like salsa, and let me see what happens. So I got there pretty late. I went to a kizomba class, like an African dance. I learned a lesson there, and everything was perfect. I actually went for salsa, but I learned a new dance, and then I went downstairs and started dancing a bit of salsa. But it's crazy because, like I said, I was in my own energy, and as a result of that, I actually attracted meeting people. This one girl asked me to be her partner for salsa, and another girl actually approached me with her friend so I can meet her friend, and she thought I was attractive and wanted me to meet her friend. But the point is, I went there with no outcome, no dependency, not needing to meet somebody and like, oh, if I don't meet somebody right now, my night sucks. This was all my thinking when I was in that place of lack. And I would go out with the sole intention of sleeping with a girl as fast as possible. So I didn't go for the music or the theme or the people there. I didn't care if they were playing screamo music. To be honest, if the girls were attractive, I was there, and I was giving all this power away externally. So I want to speak more about this, like I said, for myself, but show you guys that when you're in that place of lack, no matter what you get, you're training more lack. So if you're in lack right now, and whatever situation you're in, whatever scenario, if you're beginning in the whole journey, of lust, because lust is an addiction, like vices are an addiction. Lust is an addiction to the external that you think is going to fulfill you. Lust is an addiction to the stories and the feelings you create, that the devil creates within you, that you believe are real. So you're creating these stories more and more, and the more you get in lust, the more you get in lack, the more you train that. So you believe, devil makes you believe, think, and create stories that when you get that thing, on top of getting a feeling from it, that you won't need anything else after that. It's all a lie. It's all fake. So you're going to get that thing, and then you getting that thing in lack, because like I said, the devil is already training you that you're in lack, and you can't operate without it. When you get that thing, he's going to give you a little bit of the feeling, a little bit of a high, but after that, you're going to need the next thing and the next thing. And you're operating, you're just training more of a lack within you. So that is why I had to make this, because I feel like I hit a new level. I generally feel I hit a new level in terms of my growth and needing less from the external. Having more power within myself, and being able to genuinely be like, this is me. I came to the venue. I don't need anything from anybody. I'm here to do my thing. And if I meet somebody, cool. If I don't, whatever, I have myself. That's crazy. Like for me, that's next level, because like I said, for many years, close to half a decade, I would go to a venue and basically remove all my power from myself. I didn't love myself. I didn't admire myself. Didn't respect myself. And I made a video about this a few days ago. But when you're in that space of chasing, you don't respect yourself or admire yourself or love yourself or are proud of yourself. Whatever you get, like I said, you're trading lack and telling yourself that you're not enough without that thing. But secondly, you can't spend a night, with your energy. Like I said, you're constantly scanning, and even if you're getting blown out the whole night, the feeling you think you're going to get from meeting somebody is worth more than all this action you're taking to try and get that thing. So you can, like I said, the devil's telling you, if you meet this girl and get her number, or make out with her, or sleep with her, or pull her to your place and fuck her, whatever it is, that you're going to get this feeling and you're going to finally be at peace and fulfilled. I said it's a lie. As soon as that happens, you're going to start seeing. You can see now, whatever stage you're at. You can see when you're more intermediate, that you're training this lack. So you can have all the experiences you want, but you're just training your baseline to be more and more in lack and needing more of the environment. So that's why you create an addiction. That's why I said lust. The stronger the lust, the stronger the addiction, because you need more of the external to make you feel something. And when you're in that place, it's very hard to get out because, first off, society's training you to do that. Society's telling you it's okay to lust over women, and all your boys are liking pictures and sending you pictures of girls, and you're following people you don't know and going in people's DMs, their stories on Instagram, and you're like replying, and if they're half naked, even better. You're like, oh, more chance, and you're just removing all the power within you. So, for me, like I said, for the first time, I was in a place where I was like, wow, I don't need anything, and I got more than I even needed. Like everything was just a bonus. Me being there in my energy was everything, and me getting everything after that was simply a bonus. And I want everyone to be there. I want everyone to be in a place where they can experience that, because, like I said, society does not care about you feeling fulfilled or being in your own power. They actually want you low frequency. They actually don't want you to understand that you can attract, that you can be a man like I was. Well, it's just a boy basically, lost in pain, but you could be a man and create power within you. You don't need to start chasing everything and, like I said, training more lack, because you can identify for yourself. Anytime you've gotten something, think about how you feel after. Think about if you get more in power. You get a high, cool, you can like tap yourself in the chest and be like, oh, I fucked this girl, and cool, I'm going on a date. But as soon as that happens, you get that thing, and you chase that feeling that you created from a story, which you created from thinking. Then you'll see that afterwards you're not actually in peace. You need the next thing after that. You get a little bit of high, cool, but then you need the next thing. And then every time you go into a venue, you keep replying, you keep entertaining those stories and creating more feelings. And it tells you it's gonna be a bigger feeling of if this happens, or if you meet two girls and have a threesome, then the feeling's gonna be bigger. But the point is, it's not the feeling, because the feeling is fake. It's you are operating in lack. You need something to tell you how you're going to feel, or give you power, or give you permission to give power. You're the only one that can give permission to give you power. It's not going to be a girl. It's not going to be her bent over, or how she looks, or her ass, or her tits, or the story we're going to tell people after. It's, can you go into a venue? Can you go to anywhere where there's other people of the opposite sex and be in power and be able to attract? Because you cannot attract. I can tell you from her first-hand experience, you do not attract when you're in lack. You simply are a slave to the devil. You're a slave to feelings that are created in your head, and you believe they're real, so you start chasing the environment. You start chasing the night. You start chasing the girls. You start chasing scenarios where you can get that validation and chase that feeling that you think is real. Those feelings are not real. That story he tells you is not real. So that is why, like I said, yesterday was crazy, and it's just more proof that if you put in the work, if you maintain a lifestyle, if you remove the vices, you remove the things that are keeping you in lack, and just recreating those stories more and more, that you need something, a drink, drugs, gambling, this or that. If you need these things, you're just reinforcing more that you're a person that needs something external. When you get the power within you, and you can generally say, I'm proud of myself, I admire myself, I write that every morning, my reflections. You can see it on my Instagram, like I said, my stories. I love myself, I trust myself. I couldn't say that. You don't say that when you're in, an after party at 6 a.m. and you're doing coke off a girl, and you're like, you know, you're kind of go into the mirror and be like, you know what, I trust myself. I love myself. I admire myself. It's you understanding that you're going against your conscience, you're going against God where He wants you to be, which is in peace, abundance, fulfillment, joy, you know, admiration for yourself, respect for yourself. He wants that for you, but instead of that, you listen to the lack that the devil creates in you, the stories of lack He creates in you. You're not in lack. You were created an abundant person. You were created with spirit. Spirit is the most abundant thing you have. Um, so when you operate from spirit, you don't need anything. You actually remove everything from someone in spirit, and they're actually feel better because they realize that the power has been within them the whole time. And I realize that more and more. Like I said, I grow every day. I share my growth on here, um, and you know those that come by my side, and you know I coach the Get of Lust will grow and see me how I grow. Like I said, I'm reaching levels. These are all levels that are internal, and you know now it's like I feel it's just crazy. Like you know how much more I trust myself. You know, much more I love myself, respect myself, and like I said, I had you know women approaching me and wanting to meet me, and like you know them you could say lusting over me, and that never happened when I was you know in the clubs and you know approaching. I had people approach me, obviously you know for the physical, the flesh, but there was not it was not the same thing. I was not in power. I just you know got approached but still needed something. Like okay, like this just made it easier. How am I gonna like you know get her number now? And you know you're just training, like I said, more of the lack. So begin to realize that lack you train more lack in yourself if you operate in lack. So whatever you get, if you start desiring a girl, you get a girlfriend, you're gonna need the next thing. So you create more lack, and then you're gonna create a bigger feeling for the next thing because you can't be in your own power and don't realize you have your own power. So you're creating more lack within yourself. So you're depending on the external to give you or allow you to feel something within you, and that's simply being a slave. That's not simply that's not someone that's with God in spirit, and you know that's what I realized for myself. And like I said, it's a video I had to make. I had to. My conscience was telling me over and over, this is something that's going to help the world because, like I said, the world is programmed to chase. You see men chasing always the women, and they're told, men obviously have to make the first move, but it's the difference between making the first move and chasing a woman, chasing out of lust, and telling yourself and convince yourself there's a feeling behind what happens with this person. Whether you meet them, kiss them, bring them home, sleep with them, whatever it is, you're creating stories that are fake. The only thing that is real is your spirit. Everything else, thinking, stories, feelings, lust, all these things are fake. You can remove that. And I help those people remove that because I remove that for myself. I don't have these thoughts of pornography and, masturbation. I have to message this girl and I have to see a girl this weekend. I have to start going on dates and I have to sleep with this girl. It's all stories that you've allowed in your mind to be created, and more so in this society and generation especially, all the distractions you're getting and all the feelings you're getting that are fake are just creating more lust in men. And you see more simps, you call it, and all the OnlyFans, all women making money on OnlyFans because all these men have given their power away and they don't know how to get it back. They don't realize it's within them, and they're just giving it away by adding more externally, following more girls, giving more likes, giving more attention, and then they go into venues and then realize what they can attract, why they feel worse, and whatever what they get, they just feel more lack inside. It's because you're training lack. You train lack by getting things in lack and chasing in lack. So if you right now are desiring and like you can't stop thinking about something or someone or a girl, you realize that whatever, if you get that thing, if the devil gives you that thing because he wants to give you that thing so you can keep training that you have no power within you, it's going to be another series of events where you get that thing, think again, create a story, create a feeling, and you start chasing that, which is fake. The only thing, like I said, is real is your spirit. You realize that all the illusions that you were chasing before, when you actually get out of it and are beside somebody that can get you out of it and is operating spiritually, you realize it's all fake and it's all facade, and it's all like just smoke in the air. So that is what I want to share with you guys. I mean, it's levels. It really is levels, and my whole journey here is giving faith. Um, I was there in a place, like I said, where I was lost, and yesterday, for the first time in 30 years, I could say, I went to a venue and didn't need anything from the environment. I didn't need to meet a girl, get her number, possibly set up a date with her. I just needed the reality I had, my present moment, um, and then just dancing, and everything else came with the consequence. I met really nice people, and it's just like you need less of the stories you're creating. And ego creates stories in you and competition. You start comparing yourself, and even the energy I felt in the room was crazy. I was able to feel energy off people, and that for me is crazy because I never felt energy off people. I just saw flesh. I just saw, women, how she looked. If she's, dark hair, blonde, her ass, her tits, whatever it was. But I never felt the energy off a woman or even men. I could feel energy off the room. I could see, okay, this guy's really in his head. He's thinking, I can help him with this. It's crazy. Like for me, it's crazy because, I was always in lack and couldn't, you know, experience what's actually real, which is frequency energy. That's the most real. Frequency energy and your spirit. The rest, when you in your head and you're creating these stories, it's all fake. When you are out of your head and are connected and are aligned, and my brother Mike knows this because he's the one that got me to this place. You are in a place where you start to, you know, go from drowning in your thoughts and low energy and low frequency and ego to being in spirit and abundant and operating in love and not needing. It's next level. It's crazy next level, and that's why I will help people with this and get them out of it. And it's like I said, this generation needs it more than ever, especially the West, because the West keeps training you. It's the models, and you need to have the models, and you need to sleep with this many girls, and your boys need to see with this, and it's using women as status. And it's, to be honest, once you're doing it and you're in that place like I was, you realize you don't need that. You actually need yourself, who you are, your spirit. You need to unlock your spirit. That's where the map is. That's where everything that you're looking for lies. It's not in the feelings you're chasing, every time you go out, and the women, and the drugs, and the experiences you think are going to bring you that. It is who is, who is Daniel? Does he have power within himself? And what do I have to remove to get that power within me? So I've removed everything from like something small, smartwatches, to people I used to speak with, old friends, old environments, old things on my phone, like even dating apps, removing, like it's all removing and getting back to your core energy and power. So that's what I want for everybody. And like I said, it's crazy growth, and it's just like levels. It's levels at 222 when I look 2022. But yeah, so I'll just share that message. I mean, it's for me, like it's hard to explain, but when you're doing something for so long, or programming yourself for so long, and you go to a level where you need less and less, and you are attracting more, that's when you realize you've been a magnet the whole time, and instead you're training yourself to be a dog chasing a bone. And that's what men are being trained to do in lust, and I'm going to help them get out with my own growth, and just hitting levels of less dependence on the external. So like I said, you're still going to get, I'm not telling you to like be a monk and go in a cave and just remove yourself and you're going to start meditating. It's realizing that stories you create, anytime you have stories or thinking in your head, it's fake. It's not real. It's are you in spirit or are you an ego? And your ego creates stories, it creates feelings, it creates, oh, when I sleep with her, I'm gonna do this, and people are gonna see this, and like then I'm gonna be the man. It's fake. It's super fake. So I've done that for years, like I said, half a decade. You guys can see my Instagram. You guys can connect with me there and see that I don't lie. There's no point in me lying. I'm not gonna get anything from that. I've been in the dark with lust. That's why I'm helping people get out. I've been in places where I was chasing women till 6, 7 a.m., having no job during COVID, relying on employment checks. I live in Canada, so they had EI. So I was relying on that to have enough to just pay rent, have food, and go out. I didn't care about, traveling or anything like that. I just needed the bare minimum to get my friend downstairs in enough holes as possible. And I thought that was what I needed. And like I said, every venue I went into, no matter how many I slept with, I slept with 5 women that week. Every time I went out, I still need another one. So that's not abundance. Like I said, you're not training abundance when you're operating in lack. You're just training more lack. So you can have a threesome every day of the week, but you're still going to go out to a venue and scan the room and not be in power, and then depend on meeting somebody and being upset and be like, oh, fuck, I could have done this, and not being able to sleep and being stressed, and then going out the next day and comparing yourself and competing until you realize that the way you operate is shit, and you operate for the devil, and you don't have any abundance within you. No matter how many women are around you in your booth, or you have a roster of this and that, and women are liking your photos and commenting, you're not in abundance until internally you are able to feel in power with your own energy and then you can attract from there. So that is the point of this message. That is me telling myself to finally, that I finally have cracked a new level, a new way of operating. And it's crazy. The journey is beautiful. And I keep sharing on here and giving you guys faith because, God is the one that brought me here. And it's crazy the miracles he has to put you in places where he wants you to be. So, when you have a lot of lust and thinking it's outside of yourself, you have a lot of actual spirit within you. The yin and yang of life are crazy. So those are generally lost within the devil and, needing things externally. Once you realize where the answer lies, you can transition pretty fast. But you have that, you're chosen. I know I'm chosen, and that's why I keep sharing the message, because I know I was put in that place to share this message I am now and get out of it and keep growing and show you guys that everything is within you. God is within you. When you obey, follow the habits, remove the vices, remove the stories, remove the thinking, remove the feelings, and align yourself with him. And every day, thank him for the day and just be one of his soldiers. That's what men are here to do, not here to, entertain the devil with thinking and, feelings and stories and all this living in your head and stress, anxiety, fear, doubts, worry, and all these things. It's fake. It's all fake. But anyways, I'm gonna go now. I'm at the gym. I'm gonna go do a rest day today, so I'm gonna play a bit of basketball. I'm wearing a Blue Jays jersey, or jacket. They lost yesterday. I'm filming this on a Tuesday. I think it was game 3. Anyways, we're gonna come back because everything's perfect and everything is faith. And so yeah, go Jays. And hope you guys got some value from this. If you did, like and subscribe. More coming. But like I said, stop training the lack. Start removing to build power within yourself and realize that you are someone that can attract in our faith, and stop listening to you need this, you need that, or until you fuck this girl or that girl, until this one's your girlfriend, then you could be abundant. That's all you entertaining the stories and entertaining feelings that are not real. What is real are you in spirit, and are you in high frequency or low frequency? That is it. Anyways, God bless. Until next time, as always, keep killing it.